Hey folks, Eric to the Whatever Guy, because it really is whatever man. Do you folks want to know about a bunch of senators telling the DEA just to go ahead and just to deschedule marijuana altogether? You guys stick around, man, and we'll talk about that. As you guys know, man, my name's Eric. I'm the Whatever Guy, and I usually shoot videos a couple days a week, basically keeping you guys updated in the world Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, hemp cannabis, just what's going on around with today. And sitting here on an early Tuesday morning, sitting here bullshitting around. I got a little house cleaning to do first, guys. So I've had a couple of people reach out and ask me why I am not going to post in the Alabama Cannabis Coalition anymore. There's no anger involved there. It just boils down to I'm not going to be restricted on what type of videos that I can post anywhere, especially when you make me an admin of a group. That means that you agree to understand that I'm going to answer the questions that I think that your consumers want to see, or the people that are in that group want answers to, and that's the type of stuff that I post. And obviously that's not good enough for folks, and I do this shit for free. Like I don't make any money off this. This is what I do for free. I do this in my free time. I'm not going to have anybody tell me what I can and can't post, period. If you make me an admin, that means you trust me to give your consumers or your people in your group the type of content that they want to see. And that's what I do, man. It's what, and I'm just not going to I'm not going to have anyone tell me that I can't post anything. And the type of information that I post out there, man, is like, it's sometimes like in the post that was made is almost like, if you had to cure the cancer, would you still keep it in your pocket? And that's basically what it boils down to right there is like, I'm not going to keep information in my head that I think will help you folks in the future. And that's exactly what's going on with the Alabama Cannabis Coalition. And I'm just not going to deal with that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to post over there. I love all the folks over there. I love the interaction, but I'm just not going to post in that group anymore. I will just stay strictly to YouTube and my other social media channels. I never really was into Facebook in the first place. I've had Facebook groups before, and I've been deleted several times. Is why my Facebook profile is not very big. But I had huge profiles and stuff, and Facebook's just real restrictive. And obviously, the people and the admins of groups over there, they're kind of restricted too. So I'm just going to kind of stay away from Facebook. I might post on my general profile, but I'm not gonna spend too much time on Facebook. Like I said, I do this for free, and I've got an auto poster that posts to all my social media channels. I can hit them all at one time with little or no direct contact, other than like Facebook. You've actually got to go over there and make a post and spend the time and do the work and all that other stuff. So I apologize for the house cleaning. We'll move on towards. So talking about this, these senators talking about descheduling marijuana. That in and of itself is a crazy situation here, because as we talk about the Alabama Cannabis Coalition and what they got going on with all these legal battles and stuff. And I just told you guys last week that I heard from a senator that basically told me that if it gets up into the legislature, like if this SB 46 marijuana bill for the state of Alabama gets up into the legislature, they don't have time to deal with it. And the Republicans-led Congress and House right now that we have is basically more inclined to kill it all the way around and just wait around for federal legalization. That's the actual words that I've heard. And so we fall forward into a position where all of us are pushing towards descheduling of marijuana. We don't want to see the reschedule of marijuana, because the rescheduling of marijuana to Schedule 3 will basically allow these these drug companies to come in here and place marijuana in pharmacies throughout the United States and kill the medical marijuana programs in every state. Like, who in the world is going to go down to a dispensary and get their medical marijuana when they can go to a pharmacy and get it from the trusted source that in their mind, the trusted sources they've been getting, drugs from their whole life. Like, we are already inclined to do business with pharmacies. And my argument is, I don't agree that Schedule 3 will be a good thing. I just agree that Schedule 3 will allow these drug companies to come in here, take over the game, and they've got way more money than us. And having said that, we've got a bunch of senators that are basically calling for just a descheduling of marijuana all the way, from the get-go. So let's just go ahead and take a look at this article. This article is over here at Marijuana Moment, and we're just going to take a look at it and see what it says. And it says, senators tell DEA to legalize marijuana, demanding answers on the rescheduling process. You can find this over at Marijuana Moment, and this is by Kyle Yeager, man. And he's Kyle Yeager. He's probably one of the better writers that they have over there, and he's probably one of the guys that stays pretty much up on par with what's going on in this industry right here. 12 senators are calling on the Drug Enforcement Administration to fully legalize cannabis and answer questions about the agency's ongoing scheduling review. In a letter sent to Attorney General Merrick Garland and DEA Administrator Ann Milgram on Monday, the lawmakers, led by Senators Elizabeth Warren and John Fetterman, along with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and other champions of marijuana reform, denounced the devastating impact and out-of-step policy of prohibition, arguing that marijuana should be fully removed from the Controlled Substances Act. Now, guys, I'm a Republican, kind of I don't know that I'm a Republican, but I kind of lean more towards that conservative base of group of people. Some of these names in here that they just named, Elizabeth Warren, John Fetterman, Chuck Schumer, obviously Democrats, not people that I'm too enamored with. Although I will say that John Fetterman recently has kind of come to his senses. But I don't agree with a lot of their policies, but I'm going to have to agree with them here, man. I really hope, and agree that they should move it from the Controlled Substances Act. Doing so would present a rare opportunity to shape the new cannabis industry from the ground up, designing a federal regulatory system untainted by the corporate capture that has influenced alcohol and tobacco regulations, and advancing advancing federal cannabis reforms that acknowledge and repair the harms of cannabis criminalization. Yeah, I hope so. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has recommended the DEA move marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 of the CSA following a scientific review that concluded cannabis does have therapeutic applications and is less harmful than other controlled substances on lower schedules. DEA makes the final decision, however, and it is not bound by the HHS's recommendation. While rescheduling to Schedule 3 would mark a significant step forward, it would not resolve the worst harms of the current system. The senator's letter, which was first reported by the new NC News, says, thus the DEA should deschedule marijuana altogether. The lawmakers acknowledge that incremental rescheduling would have some important policy benefits, however, such as eliminating barriers to research and federal employment or medical cannabis patients, as well as allowing state licensed marijuana businesses to take federal tax deductions that they're currently barred from utilizing under the Internal Revenue Services Code known as 280E. However, rescheduling would do little to rectify the most severe harms of the current system, they wrote. Many of the CSA's criminal penalties for marijuana will continue as long as marijuana remains in the CSA, because those penalties are based on the quantity of marijuana involved, not the drug schedule status. Thus, criminal penalties, including prison sentences, fines, and asset forfeiture for recreational marijuana use and medical use of marijuana products that lack federal approval, would still exist, disproportionately penalizing Black and brown communities. These harms could be remedied only through fully descheduling marijuana. Once descheduled, marijuana can still be subject to public health regulations, drawing from lessons learned from the regulation of alcohol and tobacco. The senators also preemptively argued that DEA should not base its scheduling decision on an outmoded interpretation of international treaty obligations, stating that the United Nations has already rescheduled cannabis and permitted medical and recreational legalization in other member states such as Canada. DEA has previously claimed that global drug conventions require the U.S. to keep cannabis in Schedule 1 or Schedule 2. The senator's letter concludes, the DEA has never kept a drug in Schedule 1 after HHS recommended removing it, and it must not do so now. It is imperative that the DEA remove marijuana from Schedule 1, as several members of Congress and state attorneys have urged. The DEA should do so promptly. Its past record of taking years to resolve rescheduling petitions should not be repeated here. Furthermore, the DEA and HHS should be fully transparent about the evidence relied upon in the course of their review process. The Biden administration has a window of opportunity to deschedule marijuana that has not existed in decades and should reach the right conclusion, consistent with the clear scientific and public health rationale for removing marijuana from Schedule 1 and with the imperative of relieving the burden of current federal marijuana policy on ordinary people and small businesses. Guys, this is a great move right here. Like, if we can get to a point where we can push these folks into a position where we're going to get descheduling of marijuana, that would be a great thing down the road. Although I will say that we're going to see a move to Schedule 3 before that. They're going to do it in incremental steps. That's just the way the government is. They're going to keep their hands in it as long as possible. And you got to believe that we're going to get some sort of rescheduling before the end of the year, because we've got this, this vote coming up, and Biden obviously is losing bad in the polls, and he's going to need to do as much as he possibly can. I would imagine that we're going to see a reschedule, and I would imagine that right before these election times come around, you're going to see a big time dip in what the cost of goods around the United States cost, especially with gas. You're going to see like the gas price fall probably about October, November, December, somewhere in there. You're going to see the gas prices fall way down, and you're going to see this descheduling happen right here. And they're going to tout that as a way to get these Democrats back in the presidency. All right, folks, whatever guy signing off, and I'll talk to you guys later, man. Love you. See you.